Today we're going to read some controversial horror movie opinions off of Reddit, and we'll see if I agree with them, disagree with them, maybe I'll be totally infuriated. Let's find out. Comment number 1 by It's the Green Shay. I actually enjoy jump scares. I know a lot of people hate them and call them cheap, but they really get my heart pumping. Absolutely agree. Jump scares can be done good or bad. It's a horror convention and there's really nothing wrong with them. I hate when people complain about horror movies just because they have a jump scare. It depends how the jump scare is executed, in my opinion. Super Brintindo. I honestly thought Halloween was really slow and personally kind of boring. I absolutely agree with this. I think Halloween, just like the Blair Witch Project, is one of those movies where you kind of had to be there and see it in theaters to be truly scared by it. It does not hold up. As much as I wanted to like it, I just found it really boring. I'm not going to discount the fact that Michael Myers is an iconic horror villain or the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis is one of the greatest scream queens of all time. I just really don't like Halloween that much. But that doesn't mean I haven't already seen some of the crazy sequels in theaters. Deleted user, and I can see why they might have deleted their entire account for this terrible take. The Exorcist isn't scary, it's good, but rather dull at times. Okay, at least they admit that it's good. If you don't think it's scary, I don't know what kind of horror movies you've been watching. Maybe you really need gore and slasher action in order for a movie to be scary to you. But I genuinely think The Exorcist does an amazing job of building up the fear and the tension before it gets to the really crazy stuff. So hard disagree. Ciaran Y. Guir. Midsommar is better than Hereditary. No. Let me tell you something about Hereditary, and spoilers here. The minute the little girl died and it cut to that shot, you know the one I'm talking about, I was like, if the movie ended right now, I would be totally satisfied. That was one of the most gut-wrenching, freakish, like one of those moves that's only been pulled off by movies like Psycho and Scream, where they build up the marketing around a certain star and then just kill them off. It was brilliant, and I understand why people don't like it because movies about cults can be really boring and predictable, but that's not exactly what Hereditary is about. There's an excellent YouTube video. It's really long, it's about 3 or 4 hours, that breaks down every one of the hidden details in Hereditary, and it made me appreciate it that much more. Hot Rocks MH Cabin in the Woods is trash. Now, the first time I watched Cabin in the Woods, I would have agreed with this opinion, but the second time I watched it, I actually really appreciated it. It's a beautiful love letter to the horror genre. It's entertaining. It's interesting. You can't tell me that that premise is not interesting. So I don't think it's trash, but I agree it's not everybody's cup of tea. Fan of Butts 28. Of the many subgenres of horror, slow burn horror has to be the worst. I think an alternative name for that genre should be boring until the last 20 minutes. Oh my God, I disagree so much. Not every horror movie needs to start with a bang. I mean, I think it's great when it does, but sometimes building up that tension leads to the greatest payoffs. And I don't know how anyone can deny that. I don't know exactly what horror movies Fan of Butts 28 is talking about. Maybe they're talking about the kind of slow burn horror where nothing happens and then midway through the movie, everything happens. But I hard disagree with this one. Another one that oh my God, I hate this comment. I'm so sorry. And Corral, The Ring is highly overrated. I've fallen asleep to it 2 out of 3 times I've watched it. Okay, I love The Ring. I hate the little boy character. Children in horror movies can be really hit or miss. But a super scary premise, the kind that's really grounded in like the kind of urban legends that little kids tell each other. Like an amazing performance by Naomi Watts. Brian Cox is in it. I love Brian Cox. I just don't know. How could you fall asleep to that kind of movie? It just gets so everything. Like, I don't get you. And if you fell asleep to The Ring, please leave a comment explaining how to me, because I think it's one of the greatest horror movies of all time. And this last comment is by another deleted user. Maybe they just got too much hate because this one's really controversial. Hated movie that is still pretty good to me, Silent Hill. Now, granted, I have not seen this movie in a while and I've never played the video game, so maybe it's really hated by fans of the game, but not fans of horror movies in general. But I really like this movie. I thought the visuals were creepy. I thought the story was creepy. I like that most of the movie didn't have any dialogue, you know, because it's Silent Hill. I don't know if that was intentional, but I loved that movie. Maybe I'll rewatch it and I'll hate it, but as of right now, I really love that movie. So those were some of the most controversial horror movie opinions I found on Reddit. Tell me what your most controversial horror movie opinion is. And my controversial horror movie opinion, I don't actually know how controversial this is, but by and large, I hate exorcism movies. I feel like they're all pretty much exactly the same. Of course, there are exceptions. I love The Exorcist. It's a classic. And I do like The Exorcism of Emily Rose, but I think it's because it's such an unusual exorcism movie, and that's what makes it so good. But by and large, exorcism movies are super predictable and super boring to me. So tell me if you agree, disagree with my controversial opinion. Tell me what yours is, and I don't know, have a spooky day.